It was so exciting. It's really the little engine that could, When I got into it, no one was quite sure about what I was doing, choosing Sonic as my next project, but there was something sweet about it. There was something really kind of touching and lovely about this, adolescent type character that's just coming into his power and enjoying all the wonderful, stupid things that are in our culture and the pop culture, and just really loving the planet like none of us do anymore. It just gave us that feeling of innocence, and I was able to be the juxtaposition of that. The old guard, the people that are taking us down the tubes into a virtual world that we can no longer control. I'm Robotnik. I am the controller. Toggle me. That was a perfect opportunity for me to be that guy again. And I seem to run into those characters quite frequently. They're offered to me a lot. The ones that are completely mad, the ones that are absolutely self-loathing and compensating for it with some false sense of confidence and superiority. That's my specialty. When somebody writes that in a script, it just screams off the page, hire Jim Carrey. There's a madman in the hills. He needs something to do, somewhere to point his megalomania. It's bigger than I thought it would be. It's deeper than I thought it would be. Robotnik just gets bigger and bigger. I'm a big visualizer, big affirmation guy, so the joke about the secret in the movie is basically my life. So a couple of years ago, I was thinking, I'm mid-50s, and it'd be nice to kind of settle into some character that is a franchisable character, but that moves and morphs and has some place to go. He's not always the same, And what happened was Robotnik, who is constantly becoming more and more of an ego, and more and more bitter about not somehow being able to control these puny minds that always seem to get the better of him. And I've met people like that, and so that's an interesting thing, interesting area to play. And there's a deep world there if you want to explore it, and you can invent it, and you can, travel in the places that people are expecting, and they gotta have what they expect, in a movie like this. They gotta see the things that they grew up with playing, and it just makes them feel at home somehow. It's like coffee brewed to perfection. I had never gotten that deeply into it until I did the first film, and then I started realizing, oh my gosh, yes, there are so many characters in this game that they're going to actually exploit, and people just love seeing them. As soon as Tails shows up, people cheer. It's just one of those things. It's like buttons that get pushed. Robotnik has been marooned on the mushroom planet, and as a lot of society is now. He's been out there in his own little world, trying to make coffee out of mushrooms, trying to make souffle out of mushrooms, trying to make, various dishes and recipes, and playing chess with himself, because it's the only worthy opponent he has in his own mind. And he's chiseled a rock that he named Stone, because whether he likes it or not, he is kind of attached to the guy. He hates to say the word friend, but that would probably be the category Stone went into. He would say sycophant, probably. Well, first he's got to get even. Every supervillain has to get even to begin with. They all start out with a chip on their shoulder, some reason they've got to use their history of abuse to become the abuser. And so vengeance is number one. Number 2, of course, total world domination and the enslavement of mankind. That's one of his items on the bucket list. He does return, and we'll just, I don't want to give it away, but vengeance is definitely the order of the day, you know, and it gets big. It gets very big. Because the mustache is a manifestation of Robotnik's ego, you know? The bigger the ego, the bigger the chip, the bigger the resentment, the bigger the mustache. You know, it's a status symbol. Wish I could put a racing stripe on it. You know, it is absolutely his power, like Samson's hair. Robotnik's mustache has become an outward manifestation of his megalomania. I think every relationship with Robotnik starts out as friction, challenge. Who is this person? What can they take from me? What can they give to me? How can I use their power? How can I be, defended against this power? How can I dominate? His first concern is to dominate, Certainly, when he hears about the power of Knuckles, and then he hears that Idris Elba is doing the voiceover, it's a daunting task to dominate this character, but that's what he must do. He must use Knuckles' power to his own gains. And, Knuckles is a reasonable person. He's a ruffian. He's a warrior, but he has a code. And, so he's surprised by Robotnik's lack of code. The process is really kind of just rapid fire, try everything, give the director so much to work with, so many levels of emotion, so many levels of cartoon, some are fairly real, some are completely over the top, so that they can make the music happen. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I love giving them lots of choices and doing a lot of takes, and I'll do them all night if they let me, because I'm never satisfied, hardly ever. I generally look back and go, the second take. You'll do like 30 takes and go like, oh, I had it on the second one. But, you never know what you're gonna get. But when it's right, it's right. And sometimes on those later takes, you get one little snippet that's otherworldly because you're so tired or you're so out of your mind that you drop all pretension and you do something that you don't even expect, and that's really fun, really fun. In comedy, if you stuck to the words exactly on the script and all of that, there's not a ton of Shakespeare being written in comedy. It's just, it has to live in the moment and it has to be spontaneous, and you'll get into the scene and something physically is completely different than how it was pictured in the script, and you have to assimilate that. You have to use the props, you have to use the set, you have to use the other actors, or in this case, no actor. Oh, Ben Schwartz, yeah. Perfect, beautiful. Talk about like a gift for improvisation and a youthful, beautiful, exuberant spirit. And, he's great. He was an amazing find. And, he does a great job with it. And we're having fun. We're getting to know each other better and better. And that's kind of fun. Because he calls me for advice and I tell him the wrong stuff. It's fun. Oh yeah, Leah's enthusiastic. For sure. But he's willing to go anywhere. Robotnik is fairly abusive, but Lee is a really good dance partner. He's a really good dance partner. He just goes with it, and he's up for almost anything. In fact, I can't really remember anything I've ever said to him, like, why don't we do this, that he hasn't at least tried it, and it's tough to be, pulled around by your jaw, you know what I mean? But he's fantastic, and I do think people really like that relationship. There's this really lovely, symbiotic relationship, between me and Stone. We're seeing more of the characters now come to life. You know, we're seeing the war between the characters, you know, that were in the video game. And of course, Robotnik will always be the, you know, monolithic beast of need and hatred. But you know, it's wonderful to see all the other characters come to life, you know, and the relationship between Tom and Sonic gets stronger and more maudlin, because people need that. They need it, but they're very nice. They're very nice people. Yeah, what's different? It just gets bigger and better, you know, and in this universe where all these superhero movies are existing and everything, I like this place, you know. I really like the world this Sonic character I was going to say inhabits, and I really like it. I think it's different and it's innocent and it's got all the special effects and all the wow, but it's also got this very light thing going on that's just kind of sweet and homespun, and the idea, you know, I sound corny, but the idea of families hanging out together and watching the movie and the adults having something that they can take away from it and enjoy my performance as you know, I'm always saying 3 things at once. But, you know, that means a lot to me. You know, the first movie came out, had a short stint in the theaters, very successful, but then COVID hit, and it was a very important movie to people and families that they could watch together during that time, and I love that. That makes me really happy. I've had a long career, thank God, of these movies I've done reintroducing themselves to new generations of kids, you know, so I get, you know, a 50-year-old coming up to me telling me how much they love a certain movie, and I got a 10-year-old coming up to me and saying they've just started watching all of my movies, and that's an incredible blessing. I just can't believe it. It's what I asked for, what I asked the universe for, and I certainly got it. I certainly got lots of it, and I'm super grateful to have more of it with this film, you know, that this is going to be something kids are growing up with. It's a lovely place to be. It's a great place I inhabit in the world, and I'm super grateful for it.